Welcome back to Star Wars Figures Worst to First for our third countdown. Today, we'll be covering the 3132 back figures from the first wave of the Empire Strikes Back toys to hit the shelves. Without further ado, let's count down from the very worst to the very best Star Wars action figures. Number 11. Nothing says bottom of the worst to first list like depicting a barely glimpsed, unnamed background filler, which is why we start today's countdown with the Bespin security guard. If doing absolutely nothing in the movies isn't bad enough, these guys solidify their grasp on the bottom spot of our list by dressing up like waiters, wearing flower pots on their heads. If anything says, "Don't play with me" more than gold piping, it's fancy pants red cuffs. Now, they could have kept their white collars for someone who needs a clerical officiate for their action figure wedding, but they didn't even do that right. Throw in some rampant degradation of that swanky gold piping, and you even have a reason for collectors to hate this guy. A sweet assortment of mustache variations is the only thing that saves this figure from being a complete waste of plastic. Loose mint Bespin security guards are valued at $18. And if you're lucky enough to find the Fu Manchu mustache variant, they go for $35. Near mint carded Bespin guards are priced around $150. So, if any of your other toys commonly request room service, well then perhaps you'll find a good use for a Bespin security guard. Otherwise, all but the most dedicated facial hair enthusiasts can likely live without having one of these useless, ridiculously dressed no-names in their collection. Number 10. Joining the lower ranks of our 3132 backlist is FX7. Perhaps Kenner was trying to create a figure that could stand in for an espresso maker so that the Bespin security guard had somewhere to get beverages for the other figures.
Would you like some tea, sir? Oh my. What's wrong, FX7? What's wrong? Oh, ouch, oh, ow, bloody hell.
More likely, they just picked an inert mechanical droid and tried, unsuccessfully, to make it into a cool toy. The end result is a highly destructible toy that looks more like a broken umbrella than it does an action figure. The claw breaks constantly, and it's only a matter of time before the lower arms stop snapping into place and flail out randomly. Although it can be fun to raise his head up and down, kind of like E.T., but there really isn't much else you can do with FX7. If you can find a loose mint FX7, it goes for $25. Near mint carded figures are valued around $200. So, despite being unique among the Star Wars figure universe, FX7 works better as a stand-in for a light post than he does a fun action figure. Number 9. The next figure may be little better than anonymous cannon fodder, but at least he won't be mistaken for a butler. Rebel Soldier in Hoth battle gear is a decent army builder, especially if you have an AT-AT lying around that needs some target practice. His weapon is just as generic as the Bespin security guards, but at least this guy looks like he's actually supposed to hold a gun. There are also a variety of variants, which make this Rebel Soldier a little more fun to collect. Loose mint Rebel Soldiers go for $30, with carded near mint examples valued at $220. And if you're lucky enough to come across a dark brown European variant, you'll land the most expensive figure on this list at $1,200. Now, he may not be the most exciting army builder in the Star Wars universe, but Rebel Soldier in Hoth battle gear has enough collectability and playability to put him above the worst figures on this list. Number 8. You would think Leia Organa in her Bespin gown would be one of the more feminine representations of the character. But due to some major design flaws with this action figure, you would be wrong. There are some turtleneck variants with different head sculpts that look much better, but there is just no getting around that neck. Was she in a spaceship accident and is wearing a neck brace? Did she join the Alderaan weightlifting Olympic team without telling us? Whatever the reason, Princess Leia has never looked worse than she does here. Her costume is a decent representation from the movie, and the unique printing on the vinyl cape is a nice touch. Painted neck variants and the gold piping on the dress have the same degradation issues as the Bespin security guard, leading to some grotesque green disfigurations that just make things worse. Loose mint Leia Organa in her Bespin gown priced at $40, with a preferable turtleneck variant going for around $55. Carded mint examples can be priced as much as $250. The carded ESB31 photo variant can fetch $325. If the turtleneck variant was the norm, this figure would have landed higher on our list. But as it stands, what should have been the prettiest Princess Leia of them all is torpedoed by some awful sculpting choices. Number 7. Aside from a cool belt buckle, Kenner did Lando Calrissian no favors in his first action figure rendition. His cool, two-toned cape from the movie has been replaced by what can only be described as a gray taco. His expression isn't great, and the painted eye and teeth variant is particularly jarring. Kenner also must have gotten pretty lazy in their gun production back in 1980, since he shares the same boring weapon with Bespin security guard and rebel soldier. Lando Calrissian certainly deserved better than this. Loose mint Lando goes for $25, with a pearly whites variant priced at around $30. Carded near mint versions of Lando can fetch up to $150. So, if you're searching for a version of the smoothest smuggler in the galaxy to put the moves on your sister's Barbie dolls, you'd better look elsewhere. With an awesome sense of style ruined by a tragically unrealized cape and a face only a mother could love, this Lando Calrissian is about as far from cool as Lando is likely to get. Number 6. Even with his playability being limited to cold weather conditions, Han Solo in Hoth gear is a fine rendition of his movie likeness. Aside from his scarf-turned ascot, the sculpt of this action figure is great. From his cool hood and goggles to those highly detailed legs, this Han Solo is the first version of him to do the character justice. He has a little holster on his right hip, and his laser gun is nicely realized, especially compared to the other generic weapons that we've seen in this action figure release. A loose mint Han Solo in his Hoth outfit will cost you $30. There is a highly sought-after variant where the brown legs are sculpted in tan plastic rather than painted, and that can go for as much as $125. Near mint carded figures are priced at $275. So, our first total success on our 31-32 backlist is also the first successful attempt to bring everyone's favorite smuggler turned freedom fighter to life. And that is why Han Solo finds himself near the top half of our list. Number 5. Who cares if it's warm out? The Imperial Stormtrooper in his Hoth battle gear is welcome in any fight. His awesome ghost-like helmet continues the trend of incredibly designed bad guys in the Star Wars universe. These figures do have some durability issues, with their vinyl waistcoats being particularly susceptible to tearing, and they do tend to yellow. His rifle, despite being cool, is a little too long for the figure to hold down at his side.
Oh! Hey!
These issues aside, there is just no denying how well the Hoth Stormtrooper is realized. Loose mint Imperial Stormtrooper in Hoth battle gear is priced at $40, with carded near mint examples going for as much as $250. If you have an evil action figure army to build, these Hoth Stormtroopers would make great conscriptions. They may be made for the snow, but that haunting appearance will give enemy forces nightmares in any locale. Their movie-accurate depiction of a great design is further proof that if you want to look awesome in the Star Wars universe, your best bet is to join the dark side.
Oh no, not again. You're not worth my time.
Number 4. How best do you top Imperial Ghost Troopers?
Hey!
With everyone's favorite, diminutive, backwards-talking Jedi Master. Yoda finds his way to number 4 on our list, with a great representation of an iconic character and the best collection of accessories in the entire Star Wars toy line. Not only does Yoda sport one of the best cloaks of any action figure, he also has a cool belt and his trademark cane. Top that off with an unnecessary but no less awesome snake, and you have yourself the most tricked-out toy that Star Wars has to offer. Loose mint Yodas go for $50. A brown snake variant goes for $100, and the green apple-headed Yoda variant can cost up to $300. Carded near mint examples are also priced around $300. Judge him by his size, do you?
Wow!
And well, you should not. Yoda is a great example of a character being captured right the first time in his action figure form, and a great and fun addition to any Star Wars collection. Number 3. One of the best designed, barely glanced characters in The Empire Strikes Back makes his way to number 3 on our worst to first countdown. Bossk's great design translates well into action figure form. His suit and gun are nicely detailed, but what really sets him apart is his reptilian appearance. Bossk is basically Godzilla in a spacesuit. His scaly arms and feet are topped by a face that Godzuki might mistake for his famous dad. Loose mint Bossk goes for $20, with carded mint figures priced as much as $200. Who wouldn't want to play with a giant lizard spaceman bounty hunter? If the answer is you, well then you're in the wrong place, because here, at Worst to First, we think Bossk is awesome enough to place him at number 3 on our list. Number 2. The best figure of the biggest hero in the Star Wars universe finds himself at number 2 on our countdown. Luke Bespin outfit gets it all right. Replacing the awful telescoping lightsaber design with a detached weapon is the first upgrade from the previous itineration of the character. Letting him have a blaster too is a nice touch. His costume design is top-notch and general enough for any playtime scenario. Throw in a multitude of figure variants and you have a fun collecting challenge and a Bespin Luke for any occasion. Loose mint Luke in his Bespin outfit goes for about $35. Near mint carded figures are priced at $300, with the original card picture ESB 31 variant fetching a hefty $650. 2 weapons, a number of great collectible variants, and the best Luke Skywalker Kenner has to offer land Luke Bespin at number 2 on our list. If you want to slug it out with Darth Vader, hang out with Yoda, or just take on the entire Empire, this action figure is the guy for you. Number 1. Landing at the top spot on our 3132 back Star Wars figure worst to first list is Robot Death in the form of IG-88. Like Bossk, IG-88 is a little more than a glorified prop that is glanced briefly in The Empire Strikes Back. Also, like Bossk, IG-88 is amazingly designed and perfectly realized in action figure form. His sculpt from the bottom of his AT-AT-like feet up to those beady little soulless eyes are unique in the Star Wars toy line. His tiny claw-like hands are not great at holding his two guns, but when he has them, you're looking at one of the most fearsome bounty hunters in the Star Wars galaxy. Loose mint IG-88 goes for $30, with a metallic silver variant valued at $40. Carded near mint examples of IG-88 are priced around $250. Yet again, being a bad guy seems to pay off for action figures on Star Wars Worst to First. IG-88 marks the second consecutive bounty hunter to top our lists, and yet another example of how great Star Wars has been at villain design. Agree? Disagree with our selections? We'd love to hear from you on our Star Wars Worst to First Countdown Facebook page. Check out our other lists and come back soon for the latest Star Wars Worst to First Countdown.
Never leave a job unfinished.